started designing women's ready-to-wear again, I had moved on a bit in my life, and I designed some things that the customer immediately rejected and said, we don't want this from Tom Ford. This isn't Tom Ford. We want sexy. We want, pants that make us look great, make us look tall, make us look slim. We want higher heels. We want sexy. So it took a while also to find the right balance with what I was designing for my customer.
Tom Ford is an American fashion designer who launched his luxury brand in 2005 and previously served as a director at Gucci. In this video, we bring you a collection of my favorite 7 pieces of Tom Ford advice and Tom Ford interviews. If you want to develop a career in the fashion industry, this video is for you.
I think the world might be a really scary place if it were only run by Virgos.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Because we take perfectionism to really the point of an illness. Often people say, what's your greatest flaw? And it's perfectionism. Perfectionists are, if there are any psychologists in the room, more prone to depression than other signs because perfection is not achievable. You have to look at imperfection is perfection, but that goes so against the grain of a Virgo. But by the way, in fashion, there are a lot of Virgos.
Yes, a lot
Stella
of Virgos.
McCartney, Karl Lagerfeld, Karin Reutfeld. There are lots of us, I think to really obsess about a millimeter on a shoe heel, it helps to be a Virgo.
But that says something for your faith in your own vision, because that was a family company. Generations of family had run that company. And as a designer, you have to be able to stand your ground and say, no, this absolutely is what I believe in and this is right. Do you ever doubt yourself?
Of course, I doubt myself constantly. And in fashion, you have to doubt yourself up until the very last minute. Even if you've finished a collection and it's the night before you're going to show it, and you realize, oh God, that's so wrong. You have to throw it out. You have to get rid of it. You have to destroy it. It doesn't matter how you fix it, what you change it, you have to change it. So you're constantly doubting yourself. You constantly have to question. However, when you do settle on something that just feels right, you don't need to doubt yourself anymore. It's when you get to the point where you're no longer doubting that okay, that's the answer. Or at least that's the way I operate.
You can get typecast in this industry, and once you give the world your taste, as I did in the mid-1990s, and the world decides that this is what you're about, and your customer decides this is what he's about, this is what I want from him, this is what I love, this is what I like, you do get typecast into that a bit. And when I started designing women's ready-to-wear again, I had moved on a bit in my life, and I designed some things that the customer immediately rejected and said, we don't want this from Tom Ford. This isn't Tom Ford. We want sexy. We want, pants that make us look great, make us look tall, make us look slim. We want higher heels. We want sexy. So it took a while also to find the right balance with what I was designing for my customer. Sexy in 2013 is different than sexy in 1997. So while that customer wants, and maybe it's the same type of customer, maybe she's a younger version than she would have been, or maybe she's not, things do change, and our standard of beauty has changed. While they want sexy, and I've been identified as one of the sexy designers, sexy today is very different than it was in 1997. So you still have to be contemporary, current, you have to react to what has gone before you, what's happened, what's coming next, and the mood of the world. So it is different, but you can't make a radical swing and all of a sudden start designing, or I couldn't start designing things that maybe people hadn't thought of you designing before.
By the way, it is amazing to me that you have these two seemingly completely different talents. Not 2, 3. You're screenwriter on this movie. You're director of the film. You're producer of the film, which is easy. People make that, that's a big deal. It's not a big deal. But then on top of it, you design these beautiful clothes. Like I was thinking today, no way Steven Spielberg could make a suit. There's just no way he could do it. It would look terrible. He should be required to wear his own suit.
You're evil.
No.
I'm not touching.
I'm just realistic, is what I am.
Well.
But this film, I don't even understand how you do all this stuff. How do you do all this
Scheduling.
stuff?
I am highly scheduled.
Rigid? You have, is it to the minute?
Yeah. No,
It is.
It is. I think my friends complain that I'm not spontaneous. You know, the thing that flips me out is when someone calls and they says, "Oh, let's hang out." I was like, "What is that?" I actually, I don't know what hang out is.
You really don't?
I can have dinner
Right.
at 7:30. I can do, but I can't hang out. I don't know what that is.
There's never any hanging out?
Unless I block it in my calendar as 9 o'clock, hang out, to 11, and then blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
How far in advance is it scheduled?
You know, it actually isn't a joke, but it's scheduled a year in advance.
No, do you have hangout scheduled? With
Well,
anyone
no,
for,
there's no hangout.
No hangout scheduled.
No.
Never any
But
hangout.
you know, the fashion industry is incredibly repetitive, and every year on a certain day you do the certain thing, and you have to build your schedule that way.
You do? Okay. All right.
Intuition plays into it a lot, I would assume.
In our business, that's all you have. You know, marketing reports and selling reports and all this stuff can tell you what's in the store now and what's selling. It doesn't tell you what's there tomorrow. Your intuition tells you that. So anyone who's successful in the fashion industry uses their intuition.
The more you do go with your gut, with your intuition, the more you're really giving a gift to people out there, something original and something
There are both
really
industries
passionate.
too, where things look glossy and fabulous on the exterior.
Yes.
The amount of work and energy that goes into both industries on the back, the public doesn't see.
And if you're going to be a fashion designer and you're going to be relevant, you have to be part of your time. But you also have to have a good sense of history and pick up the spirit of those who came before you and then make it your own. And I think that's what Mucha did. And the dialogue last night really showed what she had gathered and taken from Elsa Schiaparelli, but also how she'd made it her own. So that was really smart. I think it's the first time that actually an exhibition had been done in that way.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's also, in explaining that, is trying to clarify his quote in the New York Times today.
Oh yeah, I said Coco Chanel once said that creativity is the art of concealing your source. Now, the way I've always taken that to mean is that, you know, we all suck up inspiration from everywhere. And the way to conceal your source is to make it your own. And that, to me, is what that's always meant, was you have to make, you know, I mean, you could take a direct line to me back to Halston, but you could take Halston and Madeleine Vianney right back. Open a Madeleine Vianney book. You'll see a lot of things that Halston took. I was a kid in New York when Halston was designing, and I took so much from Halston. It doesn't mean I copy something literally, but I took the spirit of that, and it's very present in my work. And then, you know, so each generation we move on, but we hopefully put the stamp of our time and the stamp of who we are on it.
Absolutely.